I'm Yvette Hlope. I'm from the University of Pretoria, Faculty of Health Sciences, and I'm a senior lecturer in the physiology department. I am also involved in medical curriculum development. My research interest is in cancer therapeutics, specifically in receptor inhibitors that impact intracellular signaling pathways that promote melanoma metastasis. I am part of the ASLP cohort 8. When I received the email to apply for ASLP, I think it went out university-wide. I think what really spoke to me, there were 3 words in there. It had African, it had science, and it had leadership. So I see myself definitely as a Pan-Africanist. I'm a scientist at heart. And then the word leadership, an opportunity to build and develop yourself. So I told myself this is definitely a program I want to be part of. But inherently, I thought they would bring Africans into the room, basically give us didactic lectures on science and leadership, send us home, and expect us to somehow put it together. But that was my expectation. My experience was very different. The program had the ability of breaking down the facade that we all walked into the room with. We were really very excited for the experience, but we most certainly walked in with a facade. And the programs that the facilitator had broke down that facade, really allowed us to see each other as just individuals who are trying to walk this leadership scientific role. And I think that was really the best thing that the ASLP team did. From there, they built us up. And I think when you really see the person next to you as just another individual who's trying to develop and grow themselves, it really builds a level of understanding, a level of friendship, and it really impacted on the way that we took in the skills that they were trying to impart on us. So yes, the expectation versus what we received was very different, but in a positive light. I cannot think of an area in my life where the skills I learned at ASLP did not impact, be it self-development, be it the collaborators that I met that I'm still working with currently, and then even the friendships that I formed, especially with the smaller groups that we are doing our research project with. I think ASLP really spoke to every single area of my life. Really, throughout the program, we were taught several skills, but I think the 2 skills that we were taught that really sort of spurred a light bulb, it really brought an epiphany to me, was that the first session we learned the 3-way listening technique. And to me, that really spoke to me because as an academic, as a researcher, when you're listening to someone speak, in your mind, inherently, you're preparing the response. And they taught us in this specific skill that you should really be in the moment. When someone is speaking to you, not be preparing your response, not be planning, scheduling other aspects or other meetings that you need to attend, but respect the person enough to be there in the moment. That skill for me was such an eye-opener and an invitation to be present in every moment that I'm in. I've carried that through in terms of my personal life, with my children, with my husband, carried it through into my work environment with my students and with my colleagues. And I think it just gives you a better quality of living when you are in the moment that you are really there. That was my first experience. I think in our last contact session in December, Puleng had a session. I remember we were outside at the trees at Future Africa, and she was teaching us or telling us how important it is to have a career boardroom. And she spoke about the different mentors that you should have in your career, those that speak to the information aspect of your career, those that speak to the development aspect of your career, and then those that speak, I think, was more to, I can even look at it in my office, so power roles and development roles. that activity, can I tell you, just spurred me on to really know that we really hold the keys in our hands. We can speak to, draw up on a diagram who we would like to impact us, how we would like them to impact us, and that we really have control of our career development. So it's really those two aspects of ASLP. Even though I've taken many with me and continue to use them, I think those two for me were the greatest epiphanies. As an academic, I think it's been quite easy to apply them with my students, really deferring judgment and also teaching the other students to defer judgment, especially when another student is presenting their work or presenting their perspective. And that even when we're giving feedback to someone, to always start off with a positive response, to acknowledge the work that someone has put into presenting specific content. So that has taught me that instead of being being ready to criticize, that you always first give someone a positive comment so that they know that the effort they put into their work is appreciated. Then also the problem solving skills that we've been taught, that has helped me while working with my collaborators as we try to solve problems and find new areas that we'd like to delve into in terms of our research. ASLP has really assisted there. Of course, the three-way listening technique, like I mentioned, that I can use at work, at home, within my social circles. That has really been very informative. And then, of course, the leadership aspects, which have really helped me to have a better understanding of who I am, be very self-aware, aware of the leadership qualities that I do have, those that I don't have. And I think even within my better understanding of myself through the leadership aspects, this has really helped me to enroll for a course in a module that I really wanted to develop in, but the initial catalyst came from ASLP and its encouraging environment. It's any African, you and me, who are involved in science, who have a desire to really improve the community in which we live in, who are willing to take our taught educational skills and use them, apply ourselves with like-minded people to see the development, the progress of the communities in which we work in. So basically forming networks of people who are willing to put in the work, not necessarily see the results immediately, maybe work through or have to cut through certain amounts of red tape, but who have the same goal, which is to see African people progressing and living better quality. I think as Africans, we underestimate the superpower that we all inherently have. And I think that superpower, if you're a Southern African, you know it as Ubuntu. If you're East African, you know it as Ujamaa. I'm sure West Africans have their own philosophical word for it, but basically we all have a sense of community, a sense of togetherness. And I think it's using that togetherness, to use our educational skills, to use our scientific skills to build community, and that we form like-minded communities in the same manner as which ASLP has done, one step at a time, forming networks with people who really want to see the continent progress. And I think in a few years' time, 10 years down the line, we will really be surprised how far we can go, because Africans have the ability to not think of themselves, but to think of the community. The African joy is derived from seeing not one person progress, but seeing development of the overall community. And I think Africans need to get to the point where we understand this superpower and we make good use of it. Love. For me, the ASLP was a community of facilitators, of members who just exuded love. I don't think there was a session, a moment, a lunch break, a tea break, where you didn't feel the love of the people around me. And I think it's just it just further explains what I just mentioned, that underpinning quality of African people, a sense of togetherness, a sense of being together, of being jolly, of wanting to see a community of happy people. And I think that is what the ASLP, that's how I would best describe the ASLP, as a community of love.